with these timings, these times that we're living in now, there are a lot of opportunities. In particular, media are going crazy getting opinions from people. I think I got about 4 or 5 interviews just between last week and this week. And, you know, I've been, without going up and down that much, I had more time on my hand. I don't know if you have experienced the same. And I decided to fluff about with something that I've not touched for a while, which is Twitter. Twitter is one of the social media platforms that, you know, I never took too seriously, or I never spent time in understanding on using it. And I've been hearing a lot of times that, you know, Twitter is really great to get media appearances. And it was just that I didn't prioritize it enough. And I said, okay, you know what? I got time now. Let's do something about it. Let's find this Twitter thing. How does this work? But before I tell you a bit more, anyone here, if you can tell me, like anyone here is like really good at Twitter already? That is like, no, Kapil. Yeah, mute yourself. Go for it. You're good.
I mean, I've been using Twitter. I recently got back into it, but I've been using Twitter for more than 10 years. And I use TweetDeck application. Mm-hmm. It's really good. I think, especially during this time, most of the news you can follow on Twitter. Most of it is there, like right on time. Mm-hmm. And it's a great way to connect with people, because if you just follow the trends, and you can create like a search for each trend, like a column for each trend, and you can just have like a window on your laptop dedicated to that, and it's a great opportunity to make new contacts and have conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Using it, just go.
Yeah, sorry, you were breaking up. So thank you very much for sharing. And yes, Twitter is indeed a great platform, is indeed an incredible platform. And so what I want to do first is to show a bit of like some of the basics of Twitter. And that's what we're going to start. And then we're going to look at, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but just to give an overview. And then what we are going to do is to look at how do we approach media and how do we find media opportunities on Twitter. Because I'm spending probably about 45 minutes a day now, like connecting with journalists, and it is a really, really good opportunity. In fact, one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do at the end in the group, I'm going to put a post and I want everyone to write your topic, because I've been tagging people. I got few clients on the BBC, for example, just last week because of a tag of one journalist that was looking for someone. So we got one of our members, and Dillis, that she's stuck in Africa. And she was supposed to be back here in the UK, but then the lockdown happened just the day before her flight. So she's still stuck in Africa, and there was a journalist looking for a British citizen that was stuck abroad, and to interview them for their experience on the BBC. I immediately thought of Dillis and I tagged her, and then she got one interview on the BBC for that, and another one is happening on the Telegraph at the moment. So having awareness about, because I know there are people that have more conversations I know for longer, but other that I know less about you. So what I want to have is like a list of everyone's strengths, skills, and expertise, because while I'm there connecting with journalists, I love to put your name forward for an interview whenever it's relevant, or for a pitch. So let's get started. It's really exciting. I'm going to start screen sharing. Here is Twitter. Here is Twitter. Here is the Twitter feed. When you will open your page, this is what you are going to see. Now, I'm going to start, I'm not going to look at how to look at the feed and how to look at the news. That's not what this particular training is about. But immediately, I want to show something, I want to have some basics of your profile. Because when you're pitching a journalist and your journalist goes on your Twitter profile and you don't even have a picture of yourself there, guess what? You can have the best profile in the world, you can have the best ideas in the world, but they're not going to pick you. So imagine your Twitter profile as like your LinkedIn profile or your Facebook profile. You are a professional, no matter how, and you're an expert, no matter how long you've been in business for. No matter how long you've been in business for, you're a professional, you're an expert, and you got to show that. So there are a few elements on the profile. You can see at the top here, you have a banner. Here is what you can create an image. Now I want to be known for speaking. So that's why I have a Twitter banner that shows me speaking, in this case with different celebrities in my field, and the TEDx part. And then there is a profile picture. Now you can use the profile picture, which is a sim if you have a good one on the one that you use on LinkedIn. If you have a good profile picture that you can use on Facebook, for example, you can use the same one. Having the same profile picture, this is more around social media platforms. If you have the same profile picture consistent on the different social media platform is better. Why is that? Because of the good old law of familiarity. You see things once, you see things twice, you see things 3 times, you see things 4 times, and it's consistent, then it creates familiarity. And what familiarity does, it creates trust. You know, it's almost like if Coca-Cola would change their logo in every profile that they go to. No, you go to Coca-Cola's profile, the Coca-Cola has the same logo, Ferrari has the same logo. You have your personal brand, your picture is the same picture in every profile. So that's one of the basics there. And then in terms of the description, here is about a snapshot and giving a short snapshot of who you are and what you do. Now, if you can see mine, because I wanted to immediately connect with journalists and I wanted to showcase the fact that I've been featured already in other places, I put Forbes Entrepreneur Contributor, co-founder of GTeX, some of accolades, and then I turn experts into authorities, which is what I do, which is my tagline. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, I don't have awards and I don't have featured in publications and so on. Like when I started, I didn't have them too. So how do we put it in this way? Write down who you are and what you help people with. That's the best thing that you can do in a snapshot. Who you are and what you help people with. Now, in this way, if someone is a journalist and is immediately checking your profile, they can have an idea about who you help. They can have an idea if you're actually doing what you're saying you're doing there on the pitch. Because think about that. Maybe you are a therapist like Andrea, for example. And now you write on your Twitter profile, dog lover. You can be a dog lover, but then if you submit an article about therapy and in your profile is not written that you're a therapist and who you help, then now I'm a journalist. I have a split second to decide, do I want to engage with you or not? And so in this way, it gives me the credibility and that consistency. So these are the basics of creating Twitter profile. I'm not going to do into content. I'm not going to do into other parts because, as I said, Twitter is something new for me, and I'm not the #1 expert. Probably, like I will ask Kapil to do a masterclass on Twitter. He's been using it for 10 years. I've been using it for 2 weeks. So, but what I really looked at the side is what is necessary for a journalist to make a decision and say, yes, I would love to engage with you, or no, I don't want to engage with you. Let me see on the chat. Can you guys hear me? Okay, or do you hear me like, or is it choppy? Okay, right, that's fine, perfect. So Kapil, it might be in this case on your side. So let's go now into, does anyone have any question before we move on the Twitter profile? If you have any question, unmute yourself. Let me know, because I might not be able to see if you raise your hand. Any question or any idea or anything that you would like to ask on this? And 3, and 2, and 1. Okay, I guess no more questions. So now we're going here in Twitter. You can see now you have in the left bar, you can see that you have a different menu. Now, the one that is really important for you are two. One is the Explore tab, and the other one is the Message tab, and we're going to explore both. Now, Explore tab is where now you can see, for example, what Kapil meant. You can see all your news. You can search a topic. You can see news that are made for you based on your interest. You can see general news that are trending. You can see different topics. Now, I'm not looking at this part. What I'm looking in particular is the search one. And there is one particular hashtag, which is called Journal Request. Journal Request. JOURNOREQUEST. Journal Request. Now, that's an hashtag that is used by journalists to look for experts and sources. And there is an incredible activity on that hashtag. I'm talking about every minute there are journalists looking for opportunities, looking for experts, looking for sources, every single minute. And you can see that on the menu at the top, you have top, which is there the hashtag. On this hashtag, if you're only selecting the tab with the top selected, it means that you're the one with the most comments, the most likes, is not necessarily the most recent. What you're interested is the one that are the latest, the most recent. Because guess what? This person is looking for a professional food photographer. She has now 468 people commenting on that, saying that they can do it. What are your chances to get picked for this? Competition is high there. Chances are very slim. But if I'm going to the latest and I'm one of the first to comment on a post, or maybe I'm like the 10th or the 5th, now I'm not the 500 in this scenario. So you have way more chances to get in. So what I do, I then go on latest. So here now you can see that the last one in this case was 5 minutes ago. Here is looking to speak to couples in London or surrounded areas who are separated because of the pandemic. How are you staying in touch? How are you handling it? So immediately now there is a person looking for couples. Now, when I respond to a tweet, I'm not only looking to respond on my topic of expertise. I might respond on things that are personal, even if what I want to be known is for business. Because the rule is any media feature that shows you in a positive light is a good media feature. Now, there is in PR that say any PR is good PR, even if it's bad. Well, you don't want to have a lot of bad things said about you online as a rule of thumb. So, but if you are talking about even something that is personal to you, then, and you're getting featured on the BBC, for example, Dillis, she is a relationship expert. Now, she got featured on the BBC because she was stuck in Africa and couldn't be able to come to London. But still, she can use as seen as featured on the BBC. That profile, the fact that she was interviewed on the BBC will make her, will help her to get media features in the future that are also related to her field. So remember this, that even if you find a topic that you can talk about, that you can comment because you have an opinion, or you can fit the descriptions that they're looking at, accept it. Go and send that pitch. This is a UCAN for a young male under 26 who has veneers fitted to chat about their experience and process. For an article, many of you have had a significant amount of discount codes, flash sales emails since Corona outbreak. Okay, who didn't have those? I mean, if you look at the inbox, I might have made a couple myself, so you might have some from me even. Looking to speak with anyone who is involved with or regular donate to support Pieta House. Do any PR or PR student contacts who like to talk about their favorite online courses? More business school focus, but external learning sources could work too. That's one to comment on. Looking for potential prizes that can be featured for a competition on the Pose and Close column for the Sun on Sunday. Please drop me a message. Let me just check in the chat. Simone, there is a question from Leila. Simone, what is the best way to respond to this? Would you only comment? I'm going to the best way to responding on opportunities in a moment. So I'm going to cover that too. And I'm going to give you a behind the scene of conversations that I had as well today. So then we are going into, so in this case, you need to go into latest tweet, Yelena. If you are on journal request and you cannot see any of that, you go into latest tweets. There is another one, are doing a piece of discussing gentrification. Anyone started working for 111? Hello, lovely. Are any of you in a relationship and currently on lockdown together? How is it going? Would like to talk to me about a piece? I would definitely do that. That's a really interesting thing I can comment on. Now, you can see that whenever you find a journalist, maybe, okay, I'm interested to comment on this one. I check the journalist first, just to see in what kind of publication I might be able to feature. Because some of them, they might be university students that are putting journal requests. I was on a call yesterday, someone that put journal requests and was doing a research for his thesis. He said, well, I'm going to submit my article also to other big publications if it's going to get accepted, but this is also for my, to complete my MBA. Say, okay, cool, let's do that. I was already on the phone with him. But then you can see that now this is a legitimate journalist. I mean, she's a radio presenter. She worked at The Guardian. She was a women in leadership editor. So now it gives you an idea of which kind of publication they're writing for. Keen to speak to an expert on French equities. Are you working on the NHS? Any support sharing this message? There are a lot of, for example, requests right now regarding mental health and well-being, regarding health and fitness, how to stay healthy and fit at home, regarding businesses, how do business survive coronavirus? So for any business mentor, this is great. So these are a lot of topics that are happening right now in this conversation. There are, if you are in your relationship field, a lot of requests on how to deal with the relationships. If you know you're isolated in two different houses, how do you cope with that? These are a lot of topics that are happening consistently. So let's say I'm interested in Harriet now, and the first thing I do, I start following. I'll follow them. And I send Harriet a message. During particular, if you broke up after 2 days and now are stuck with each other. So in this case, well, I haven't read the other part, but that's not something I'm going to apply for because we are together. But in this case, she's looking at to get coupled together. How is it going? And in particular, if you broke up after 2 days. Let's say that I'm interested in this. So I'm going to send her a tweet and say, hi, Harriet, I'm interested in supporting you. I'm interested in contributing for this feature. I will send you a message. So the game is to send them a comment, so then you can send them a message. That's what you want to do. So then they can see that you are going to contact them. Some of them, for example, will even tell you to send them an email, and they will put their email there. Now, if I can go back on, let me check, for example, in my messages. Okay, so I had in my, let me see my profile, tweets and replies. So I can show you something that happened yesterday. Okay, this is, for example, even this one. Open for pitches relating to making this time more productive, lucrative for freelancer. Think marketing, brand awareness, social marketing, social media strategy, mental health for freelancer during this time, funny, nice stuff for stories. Then she put her email address. Now what I did, I said, hey Jess, great to connect you here. We'll send you my ideas. Also, I tagged someone else as well that could be relevant. This is another client. I said, she works with freelancer, so I tagged her too. Then I went into, I clicked on Jessica. I see that she works for Freelance CRNN, and she covers things about freelancing. And I say, and I started following her. The next thing I do, which is quite important, in Twitter, you have what is called the Twitter list. Tweets list. Now, I created a list where every journalist that I get in touch with or every interesting journalist, I create a list just with them. Because in this way, what I can do is just to keep in touch with the same journalist all over and over again and not reinvent the wheel if I, for example, forget a conversation. And you can see that you have these 3 buttons here, these 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. You click the 3 dots, and then you have add remove from list. Add remove from list. You have them on your app on your phone. You can do this on your phone as well. I add them on my list, and I've created a list which is private called journalists. Now, this in this list, I'm now going to click and to add them on the journalist list. So then in the future, if I want to connect with them again, I have them all in one place. And then the next thing I do after following, so the first thing I do is follow, then I add them to the list, and then I send them a message. So in this case, I send this message. Hi, Jessica. Hope you and your family are well. I'm responding to your journal request. I'm going to paste as well this template in the group so that you can have it. I've been self-employed since I was 20. I write regularly for Forbes and often speak on radio and TV on small business entrepreneurship. So here's a bit of, like, here is credibility at the beginning. What I want to give is a piece of credibility at the beginning. Whatever, how many years you've worked, how many people you have worked. If you're starting out and you don't have, I've been working in this field for 5 years, 6 years, you can say, I have experience or I'm an expert on this topic. Or you can say, I work on this topic. You use the credibility that you have, and then the more you advance, then the more you will add. If you have been featured on other publication, for example, you can say, hey, I've been featured on this publication. I care deeply about this topic, as I know what it's like being on your own and have nowhere to turn to. There are 3 things that every freelancer should focus on now. So then here, I'm going to give a specific thing on the request. If you remember, the request that Jessica asked was, what should freelancers do with the time that they have at their hand? Focus on business development, marketing. So I'm giving just a snapshot of, this is what I think. And then after I give them, I say, let me know if you want me to expand on this topic. So I don't give her the full article or the full answer. Because what happened, I'm just wasting my time if I don't get picked. And also, it's way too much to process. If, for example, I'm a journalist and now I'm reading about 15 different pitches. And then I'm looking forward to hearing from you, Simone. Now, if there is an email as well, in this case, Jessica, the email, I will copy and paste it and send it on the email as well. So it's the same thing. Copy and paste the DM, send it on the email as well. I'm going to answer questions in a moment. So I'll show you also the behind the scene of another conversation that I had. In this case was Kate. She asked for tips about starting a business from home. That was her journal request. And I think I sent it yesterday. She responded today. Said, I hope you and your family are well. I'm responding to your journal request about setting up a business from home. Credibility. I run through businesses. I helped more than 1,000 people in the past 5 years. So whatever credibility you have, I would love to contribute to the article. What's the next step? So you can see that in this situation, I didn't give them an idea because she didn't ask anything specific. So I didn't know what ideas to give them in that case. I say, okay, this is my credibility. I would love to contribute to the article. Or I could have said, I would love to contribute to the article, and this is what I have in mind. I could have done in that way too. And so she responded today, thanks for getting in touch. Would you be available for a telephone interview about setting up a business from home at some point today? The article is for the Archance Magazine Content Hub, which is like a group that does multiple magazines. Said, yes, thanks for reaching out. Can you talk at 4 p.m. or is that too late? No, that's fine. What number should I reach? Where I live, my network is crap, so it's better if I use Skype. I said, no, I don't have Skype. So then we will have a call today at 4. So that's the kind of conversation that you will have until they arrange a call. The similar conversation can happen via email too. So to recap, when I see an opportunity, when I see something which is relevant, so I look at journal request first, I look at the hashtag, so I'm doing a recap and then I'm opening up for question. I'm looking at the hashtag and I'm going on latest. I see what kind of latest opportunities there are, the ones that are relevant to me and the things that I want to contribute. If you, for example, know someone, feel free that maybe it's not you, you can tag someone else in that opportunity. You still become a useful resource to the journalist and build that relationship. Found something interesting, I comment, hey, I'm interested in, I would love to be part of this feature. I'm going to send you a personal message. I'm going to go on their profile. I'm going to follow. Then I'm going to add to the list of journalists that I've created. And then I'm going to send them my pitch here on the private messages. So that's again to recap the process, and I do that consistently. I set the time, it's about like 30 minutes a day, sometimes it's up in 40 minutes. And I can do it while I'm watching a movie. I can do it during my downtime. It doesn't have to be like something focused. I was, I had a call with the bank yesterday. You know how long now the queues are if you want to talk with your bank and wait on the freaking phone line. I mean, I think at some point my soul even left my body while I was waiting in that queue. What was I doing? While I was waiting, I was there on Twitter and applying for media appearances. So I think that actually the one with Kate was one that I got while I was on the waiting list, while I was waiting on the line. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to open the floor for questions. Anything, any question, anything that you would like to clarify, clarifications on any scenario, please let me know. Now is your time.
Simone?
Yes, Alexander.
Hey, man. Yeah, really good. I like the way that you presented this. I want to start by also contributing to another hashtag, which is PR request.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that I'm using this, so I see it's also pretty frequent, and yeah, people are looking. So it's PR. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna show it to you. In fact, I have it as I've used it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hashtag PR requests.
Yeah, and I'm using like combination. For example, you can put journalist UK, or actually put the domain that you are, or let's say relationship journalist UK, and you still can find something. Not that much, but I still can find some things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my question is,
Thank you for contributing. I really appreciate it. That's you find both PR requests and journal requests are really powerful hashtags. Thank you.
yeah, and also bloggers requests a lot of combinations. Like you just need to think a little, and that's it. And I think there is also recommendation somewhere on the right, if I remember.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, and my question is, I sent to you whatever follow requests. So I'm looking for a feedback from you in the way that in the Voltura page, because for me, as you know, is a product, is not more as an individual. And yeah, if you can offer a little feedback based on how the Twitter page look like.
On your
On Twitter. I send
Twitter?
I sent you a friend request or something.
Okay, which one is your Twitter? Which one is your Twitter account?
If you look at the notification, I think you should receive it till now. It's Voltura
okay.
game.
Voltura game. Here you go. Featured on BBC Radio UK contributor Thrive Global. Played by 700 people. Relationship game, self-development game review. It doesn't say what the game does.
Mm-hmm.
So I see you put the thing in the right hashtag. You put the credibility.
Simone, can you share the screen?
Oh yeah, sorry.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Sorry.
To learn.
People are curious.
That might be useful, right? I thought I was sharing. Apologize for that. So here is the page. So put featured on BBC and radio station UK, contributor of Thrive Global, played by 700 people, so a lot of credibility, relationship game and self-development, two relevant hashtag, reviewed by psychologists, but it doesn't say what is the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't see that Voltura is a game that helps connect people.
Okay.
Right? So that's what I would add, and within the character limits to balance the.
That's the thing, because I don't have space anymore.
Yeah, so we need to take away to eliminate part of like even like a review by.
So should I delete from relationship game, like
Yeah,
onwards
like
still
the
psychologist
relationship game and self-development game. You gotta play around with it. There is, it's like, for example, it can be a relationship and hashtag relationship alpha self-development game that helps connect people.
Mm-hmm.
And then featured on BBC, played by 700, reviewed by psychologists. I would eliminate the contributor at Thrive Global.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So first what it is, then featured on BBC, reviewed by psychologists, and you have it. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and in terms of the cover picture, like I couldn't find anything like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Authority, but I put a group picture, so at least this is
it's great.
behind.
It's about connecting people. So what you're seeing is a group of people together.
Mm-hmm.
So then is a picture that shows the. I would. Yeah, exactly. What you can't see the game though. So if I click, I can see that there is the game there.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if you have another one where actually the game is on the opposite side. If you
another
can
image.
flip the image, so then it shows it on the opposite side. You can
Okay.
actually flip it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
and that will work.
Mm-hmm.
Did I answer your questions?
Yeah, that's it. So basically, I put at the beginning relationship and self-development game that connects people, and then keep feature on BBC radio station and 700
Perfect.
people and remove contributor.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Who wants to go next? Yes, Leila? You can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Just a quick one. So you mentioned about, like, for example, that relationships one. So something that's not a topic that's not part of your business necessarily. So can you just explain the purpose of doing something like that and making sure that you're still staying congruent with what your business is, without, because I guess you could potentially run the risk of messing up as well, I think. I don't know.
Exactly. So if you think about you and your personal brand, right? Your personal brand have some characteristics, and you are a person, you're an individual. And when people work with you, they don't just work with your business, they work with you as a person. So now, within the limits of what is that you want people to know about you, that's how you can choose what personal features to apply for or not. For example, I'm very open that I had eating issues, anorexia, bulimia, overeating. I'm very open on that side. So there was a request looking for someone to talk about how was dealing with eating disorders during a lockdown. Mm-hmm. Now, if I didn't want people to know that part publicly of my life because I'm in the middle of it, or I'm not ready to share it, or it's not something I even want people to know about it, I will not apply for it. But online, you can still find other stuff that I've openly talked about. So in this case, for me, is another way to share my message and to help and support other people that are going through it. And I feel comfortable and congruent doing so.
So is it almost like how we talk about having to talk about us, share our story and have that vulnerability, but where there's areas that you're comfortable sharing, is finding another angle?
Exactly.
Other aspects of your life, like whether it's health or relationships.
Exactly. If I'm having a problem with my relationship and someone asks me to comment on relationships and I don't want people to know about it, I'm not going to I'm not going to apply for that. Even if it's on the BBC, actually, even worse, if it's on the BBC, like even more people are gonna see that. But if there is something that I want to talk about, and then I feel comfortable about it, it's something that will not have negative effects on my business brand and the perception that I want people to have about me publicly, then I will apply for it.
But I guess it's still okay to do that if you've got a point of view that might be contentious. That's okay to do.
Can you give me an example? I know you have an example in mind.
I don't. I'm trying to think. Okay, yeah, I have.
Yeah,
imposter
I know you
syndrome.
do.
That's
I know
that.
you do.
My big bugbear, imposter syndrome. Yeah. So someone wants to talk about that, and just as an example, and then I give my point of view on that, which isn't probably what the majority would agree with.
Mm-hmm. That's even better.
That's good, or okay?
That's even better, because then when someone gets to know you in person and gets to work with you, then it's not that you are telling them something different.
Right, okay.
So it is congruent with your message. Like the fact of, we had conversations before talking about imposter syndrome. We had conversations in the past talking about the fact that, men, women equality in the workplace and your views on that. Your views are your views, and you stick to that no matter what. It's not that on one side you say one thing and on the other, then someone works with you, you say something different.
Right.
So that's another opportunity for you to get known for the views and what you believe in. And if you say something which is actually goes against the current, is even more likely to be picked up.
Right. Okay.
The problem is damaging if you, because you know that if something goes against the current is picked up, if you then manufacture it, and then when someone then gets to know you well, then they'll say, why did you say something you didn't really think to get featured? That's where you lose your credibility.
Right. So as long as it's congruent with your personal point of views, it works.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
You did. Yeah. Just trying to make me think bigger in terms of what you just showed of the type of opportunities there might be that aren't specific to my business, but it's like in the broader sense. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. Kali, you had a question here. So Kali asked, yeah, go for it, Kali. Sorry.
Yeah, so I just meant the angle. So like you said, obviously one of my passions is travel. So obviously I could do something around the restrictions that we're having and not getting back to family, because obviously I can't get back to my family at the moment. So is that what you mean? So it's still congruent with
Absolutely. There are there are a lot of features and there are a lot of requests on that.
So I haven't even looked at this. It's so bad. I've just set an alarm in my phone for every morning to do 20 minutes on Twitter, because just haven't been engaged with this at all. But yeah, I was just thinking then, because obviously I'm really like freaking out that I can't get home. And I wish I'd got on a plane and gone back to my family, because yeah, I can't get to them if something happens, and to be fair, and I am, because they live in the middle of nowhere. So I'm like, Mum was like, you could come here under the roof. But yeah, that distancing already, I've already noticed it. And it's just the fact that it's not even that I want to go, it's that I can't go. It's really fascinating, the change in, because you're being told you can't do something. So yeah, I thought about that. But yeah, the angle of the family and the angle of,
So there are any feature in your case about, connecting with family, not being able to go back to your country, or not being like restrictions of travel.
Yeah.
That's a great place to be featured in.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Because there are a lot of people that are feeling like you're feeling. I mean, I'm feeling like this, and I'm just like 2 hours away in Italy.
Yeah, exactly.
On the other bloody side of the world.
No,
it's like
it's different, isn't it?
So
I hadn't even thought about those angles. Thanks for that question, mate. That was good. That was really.
You're welcome.
Sorry, can I just quickly say on that the thing that stuck out for me there was actually the angle of, it's not that you were planning to go or need to go, it's the fact that you've got this restriction on you. It's a freedom thing now of you can't go, and we've all got that. So how is that impacting people? Because that's an interesting one to look at. Excuse me.
Okay, so any other question? Got 10 more minutes. Other questions? Can be even
asked on a roll.
Yeah, go for it.
So obviously with that, so you obviously position potentially, like I said, depending whether they've asked for potential content ideas or haven't. So do they normally, what's the norm? Is it normally that they'll, because obviously I've done no press, that's the one thing I've avoided so far, which I shouldn't, but I'm about to. But do they normally then, like you said, like that girl, like, so like they normally jump on a live interview, or will they get you normally to submit an article? Like, what's the general, is there a general process, or is it just?
No, it's on a case-by-case scenario.
It is, everything's just so different. Yeah.
So if someone is a journalist and what they are doing a feature piece, whether they feature a topic or a person or an individual, then they will write the article. So more likely,
so they'll just ask you questions and then formulate it into an article.
Like you had, for example, with the High Profile Club.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. That was easy. That was good.
While sometimes they will ask you to write contributing articles. So would you like to write a contributing articles for our platform? And then in this case, you will have to write the article, gets approved, and then gets submitted, it gets approved, and then gets published.
Cool.
What I'm finding that on Haro, for example, Haro or Source Bottle, when we talked about other platforms for getting featured, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check the publication section in the profile builder training, which are two platforms that allow you to get in touch with journalists. On Harrow, Source Bottle is more likely they are going to submit your own article. While on Journal Request, I found that there are way more journalists looking to feature and they are going to write it.
Beautiful.
So much
So that's
better.
where I
It's so much better.
that's where I focus because I hate writing them. So that's good. Yeah.
No, it's so much better to a point though, because then they have actually power to edit in and out what they want. I mean, the story is their story. I mean,
Yeah.
Antonia, you want to share your experience because it was that you got featured in the Telegraph yesterday or something, or 2 days ago?
Yes, yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, yesterday.
Huffington Post, UK.
Huffington Post, sorry, Huffington Post.
And I'm
yes.
all the way from Germany. Yeah, there's one piece and then I have a second one. Well, it was a friend who connected, who wrote in a group who has a story, who of the parents here has a story about being at home in lockdown with the children. And if you want to be featured, or the possibility of being featured, then I need 200 words quickly. So then I was just stopping everything. I was sitting down, writing something, sending to her, and she forwarded it to a journalist. So she saw the opportunity, I think, on Twitter, and reached out on Facebook to her group, collected stories, and sent them to the journalist, which builds a relationship with her and the journalist. And at the same time, for me, it was great opportunity, and I went through. So I'm in there now, seen on Huffington Post UK. And it was about being quick. And for me, it was great to jump on this, because I'm not yet on Twitter and I don't have all these steps. But I think for all of us, it's an option when we now start on Twitter to always have the radar, like Simone said, as soon as we have the list of what we all do, then we can have the radar for all of us, and like tagging each other and opening these opportunities. And then it was about speed. It was, she said, send it to me now. So it's like, sometimes it's just, if they only want to have 100 words or something, it's just about really sending it in that moment and not the next day.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing, Antonia, and congratulations for the feature, first of all.
It was very private. It was just about dealing with 3 kids at home.
So this is a really important point. That's why when I shared the screen and we were talking about the different feed on Journal Request, we go into latest. Because the journalist word is very quick, is very fast. I want this, I'm looking for this now. I like what you're writing in the pitch. Boom, I'm gonna feature you or I'm going to interview with you. Now, if you go into top and you see things that are, for example, like, you know, on March 26th, for example, like this one, then it's very likely they already found what they were looking for. And so it is a matter of speed. And that's why if you start in the morning, then what happens is that you have the time to immediately respond to what you see. And then don't bother, because also the other thing to be aware of is not to go the other way around and get sucked into Twitter wormhole. Like I found myself 2 days ago, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do 30 minutes of this. 3.5 hours later, and 35 pitches submitted, I was still there. And what I wanted to do that was really important to do during the day, that didn't happen. So be aware of like really sticking, because those features are coming in. So I'm just putting my mind in peace that whatever comes in the moment I'm focusing on, I'm gonna respond. Something else I'm not going to do. Or I might check them out again, like during a lunch break. So I'm having a lunch break. Okay, let me quickly check Twitter if I see there is something relevant. But it's just easy to get sucked into then, and that's all you do, no, that doesn't work that well. Any other, yeah, Antonia, go for it.
And so to start off, it's maybe, for me, I would just start with like 2 days of doing this, because then I have my mind on following through the day. Because when I do it on days where the whole schedule is filled, then I might not be able to follow up. So maybe I do like 2 days where I really do focus on Twitter and where I'm really quick. And then I have like 3 days where I just keep an eye on what's coming in, but not like being so active.
And you find the way that works the best for you, depending on your level of, discipline, addiction ability.
Wormhole.
Wormhole.
I have to be careful with the Facebook wormhole as well. So
yeah, we gotta be clever with any social media wormhole.
Yes.
Okay, well, I got time for one more question. Anyone has one more question? We got Victor, we got Diana.
Hey, I just typed in the chat. Are there any popular times of the day that we should be checking out for these hashtags? Like 8 o'clock in the morning, for example. Like, is there a recommended time to check out?
I found that morning is really good, because if you think about a journalist, they start in the morning and they get them ready for the feature for the day. So I found that to be a really good time where they are active and responding as well.
Sure.
Because then throughout the day, what happens then, they get called into meetings or they're writing their features. And so they might take hours then to respond to the tweet, while in the morning, they are setting up the news for the, it's almost like setting up the news for the later during the day or the next day.
Okay, thank you.
That's where I tend to look at it. I will also look around like a lunchtime. Lunchtime is another time where I found myself looking at. There are a lot of opportunities. Nothing much on like a real, like proper journalist on the weekends. Very little. You can find something, but I don't think it's worth spending your time on Twitter there on journal request on the weekend. I've been monitoring for 2 weekends and very little happens. And evenings after 6 o'clock as well. Like you see, up until 6, 7 o'clock, up until 5 o'clock, actually, there are opportunities that are almost coming in every 4 to 5 minutes. And then after 6 o'clock, you find like every 20, 30 minutes. So a good 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning to 5 p.m. is a good time during the week.
Simone, can I contribute something? I discovered something now, like while looking at Twitter.
Sure.
Is how you can niche it, like exactly on what you want to do.
Yep.
If you do a screenshot, I'm gonna teach you or show you.
That's gonna be the last one, and then we wrap up. So
go to the free, go to the screen, the tag,
yeah.
Go to the tag.
Hashtag journal request.
Yeah, journal request.
Journal request. Yep.
Okay, and go to the 3 dots on the and you have advanced search.
Yep.
And here you can put what you're interested.
Oh, then you can put like business.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, and that's an SEO thing. And that's it. Now you have everything in the area of business.
So then you have advanced all these words. I like it. Okay, brilliant. So then for everyone that wants to then go down to the wormhole or really understanding Twitter and refining it, then you can do is the advanced search. And Kapil actually offered to do a training on TweetDeck, which is a tool that is really powerful in terms of like using Twitter. So if you guys are up for it, then we can definitely take on Kapil's suggestion. you know, we got more time, right? Well, I don't know if we got more time now than before. I think it's just a thing. I'm busy. I'm busier now than before, but I don't know if it feels like this to everyone. But that's definitely a good tool to use, in particular to connect with journalists and getting media appearances. So thank you very much, Alexandra. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, time to wrap up. If you have any question on this, please let me know in the chat and let me know as well in the Facebook group, because then what I would love you to do, there are two things as a result of this call that I want you to do. Two. Number one is to have an armor like the one that Kapil has, but a real one. Number one is to complete your Twitter profile. If you didn't have reviewed your Twitter profile for a while, I'm gonna set the recording. If you don't have a Twitter profile, create one. If you have one, it's time to spruce it up a bit. I don't even know if sprucing it up is even a word, but I'll make it up, it is. And then the second thing is to send a message in the group about what is your topic of expertise. So I'm going to create a post called comment below your topic of expertise. I want you to just put 3 keywords in your comments. Just your name is gonna be there, and put 3 keywords of 3 things that you can talk about, because I'm going to save that. And every time I'm connecting with a journalist, whenever I'm going to see an opportunity relevant for you, and then let Michelle know as well, because Michelle is again another Twitter warrior, then I will, we're going to tag you in for relevant opportunities, okay? So these are 2 things. Number 1, spruce it up or create your Twitter profile. Number 2, comment in the post that I'm going to create in a moment in the profile builder with the 3 topics that you can talk about. And then it's great for you to play around with Twitter journal requests, see what opportunities you have, and throughout the week, if you have any question, just let me know. Say, hey, I've got I've seen this tweet, how should I respond? Or if you want feedback on your pitch to the journalist, hey, this is the message sent out to the journalist. What do you think? Use that group as much as possible, because that's how we can support each other, in particular in this moment. Right now is the moment where we really have to support each other even more than before. And if we all do that, if we all stand for each other, we can create really something magical out of a very interesting situation where we are living in. So thank you very much for being here today. Love you all. And I will see you in the group or for another call in 2 weeks' time. Everyone give me a good whoop, whoop. Yes. Okay. I will see you later. Ciao.